Dude, Russia is like the United States wife that just keeps getting caught cheating. Like, have you been seeing Ukraine again? You can trust me. When have I ever done you wrong? Of course I haven't been seeing Ukraine. I have sources. There are sources that say you've been advancing on Ukraine. They're just lying. They're lying because they're jealous of how much I love you. How could you take their word over mine? I have photos of you making moves on Ukraine. This is clearly a result of your trust issues. It's not my fault that you're so insecure that you can't handle me being around Ukraine. Like, just because you couldn't work it out with Saddam and you couldn't work it out with Osama, don't project that shit on me. Meanwhile, Russia is sending messages to Ukraine about how bad they want to smash. The other day I was looking at Breck. My eye itches. The other day, I was asking Breck what YouTube video he was watching, because every single one that he watches gets these insane amount of views. Like, he'll be like, this guy just opened his channel 6 minutes ago, and he has 9.1 million subscribers. And so, like, I'll check and see, like, what kind of stuff he's watching and what kind of content he's into. And the other day he was watching, like, trolling videos. And I guess maybe I'm just a vagina, but I can't possibly enjoy that. Like, I just know for sure that I wouldn't enjoy it. Not like in the same way that you, like, you know, you people, there are definitely people that enjoy a car crash. You know what I mean? Not like in that same way where you have that. But I'm sure that I couldn't. Like, one, how can you not have empathy for the guy that's being trolled? Like I even asked my son, I was like, so if say you were talking to a girl online, or what you thought was a girl online, and she said really nice things about you. She said really nice things to you, and she said really nice things about how much she likes you. I was like, how would it make you feel how would you feel if you then found out that she wasn't real? And he's like, I wouldn't like it very much. And I'm like, of course not. Like, nobody would like that, right? And so it's just like I just don't see how you'd be watching this YouTube video and then not having any sort of empathy, like not putting yourself in that person's shoes, in the sense that, like, again, well, I don't know if I said this or not, but I can't be surprised that this is turned into content, because everything's content, right? I mean, nearly everything, right? So it's like you can't be, you know, surprised that certain people are watching it, but I just don't know how you could feel good watching it. Like, I don't understand how you could see somebody else, and I'm not saying there's not good, and if for the sake of comedy, I guess I understand that. I'm not saying there's not good trolling, because there's some that's so good that is like, I guess, again, I'm thinking more of like in a relationship situation, just because you're playing with people's emotions on such a different level. I mean, there's, different trolling where I guess, again, I should be very specific. I'm talking about like relationship style, where you have like somebody pretending to say be somebody else on the internet just for no reason. And like, again, it's become these YouTube videos that like my 7-year-old, almost 8-year-old son is watching, just to, you know what I mean? And again, I'm like, if you put yourself in that person's shoes, at no point do you feel empathy, like because I couldn't possibly, I just for fear of karma. And I even asked my son that. I was like, are you not even worried just for the fact that if you possibly enjoy it, if you allow yourself to enjoy it, that because sometimes it seems like, and people would call it karma, people may call it whatever, but it seems like if I even for a second allow myself to revel in the pain of somebody else, immediately thereafter, I'm getting exactly what happened to them, or a worse version of what happened to them. And so it's just like I'm literally, I know it sounds stupid, but almost terrified to put myself in that negative thought. Or when I catch myself, I'm just like, I got to get out of here. I got to turn around. I got to find out what got me here. And it's not, fuck, man, I'm angry every single day. And I don't know if that's what it has to do with. I'm sure it doesn't. I'm sure it's about many other things in my life, but I just don't know how. You can have that as your I don't know, your whole goal. Your whole goal is to troll. I just don't see how. I don't know. Like I said, he mentioned that he would feel bad. He would feel bad if he saw somebody else, if somebody was doing that to him. And it's like, of course, especially in the relationship scenario. I know that there's funny trolling and that it's good in a lot of senses, but in this case, I just think you're playing with somebody's emotions at such a high level. And I'm not saying, I don't know, I guess that's like you can't, nerf the world or whatever. It's like you can't protect everybody from everything, but it's just like, fuck. Can't you leave a couple things alone? Can't you just, I don't know. I've always just been, again, I'm so skeptical. So that's where I'm just like, because I always think like, I would think somebody's a troll. You know what I mean? I've even had where girls will say that they've been like almost like put up to it by other guys, and then like later the other guys will get on the phone. You know what I mean? It's like almost like you can, like a girl would be in on it, and I'm like, thank God I never, you know what I mean? Like I used excuses like I can't come over or whatever it is. I'm not gonna be able to make that happen. But then it's like eventually they, it's like, well, you were being trolled the whole time, and it's like these are obviously a long time ago, like in my teenage years. But my point in saying that is I just don't see how he in this particular situation couldn't be concerned that now he's going to be the victim of that soon thereafter. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. He said he wouldn't like it. I'd just be concerned with the karma, but it is more prevalent. It's certainly more prevalent than it's been at other times. I even wanted to like look it up because it seemed like, it's always been, I'm sure it's always been a thing, it's almost dumb to try to think of it, because of course there's like the fishing term trolling of like casting out and drawing in. Of course there's like the troll under a bridge, right? But I don't think it has to do with that so much, is it? I mean, it's more, I guess it could, but it's more, I had read I forgot what it was. I even I made a note of it, but they stated that it was a term that was used by military aviators. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. I was like, they said that they would use it to provoke their opponents into starting a dogfight with them. So apparently it was used in the military before it was an internet thing. But I don't know. I didn't know too much. Because it just doesn't seem like it's been around more often now, that it's like more prevalent, or you see it like a lot more often, I guess, especially in the internet world. In that sense, I had looked it up as well. That's what I had to write down. Another source had stated that like internet trolling began in the late 80s to early 90s in MUDs, aka multi-user dungeons or Usenet discussion groups. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's where the internet term of the word had came from, but I don't know. I'm just paranoid as shit, so I'd have trouble trusting anybody in the first place. I feel like that most of the time, though, if you do, I mean, again, say it happened to my son. He's only like 7 years old, so probably doesn't have all those skills quite yet, and you almost have to get burned in the beginning, right, for it to for you to have that skepticism, or you have to have something go wrong, I guess, to then have some sort of reason not to follow through. But my point in saying that is just like I often try not to trust darn near anything. So I just like, I feel like if I am being trolled, like nowadays, it seems like the red flags typically spring up pretty quickly. Like one of the easiest ones that you'll always notice, especially if it's a situation like where he was watching, like relationship style, where some guy was pretending to be a girl and saying nice things to another guy, which he even said one of the videos, it was like even the other person, the guy, was like trolling him back. But I think that might even just be something that you say when you feel so hurt that you're being, you know what I mean, when it's revealed to you, right? Because it's like if they're like, well, I've been trolling you the whole time, you're like, well, I've been trolling you the whole time, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know if I believe that one so much. I almost think that's just like somebody that's really hurt in that situation. And I don't mean to be such a bitch about it. I just think that's like, I don't know. I know I would never want it to happen to me, but like I said, a lot of time it'll like a red flag will come up. Like they won't want to meet. The biggest thing in the relationship one, I think, is like the longer somebody's going to string you along, they're not going to want to get together with you. So it's like if that happens once, there's an issue. You know, get the fuck out. Like that should be pretty obvious, you would think, but I don't know. Again, I just I think about my son. And I guess that's I don't know. Yeah, my thought is better than having to deal with a girl, you know what I mean? Like, at least I hate to say that. I mean, I don't know if that's sexist, but I think a lot of people, if you think about it, like having to go through the teenage years of either having a guy or a girl, it's like, I feel like I got lucky with the roll of the dice being on the boy side, just in the sense that, like, dude, I was a piece of shit. I mean, I'm not saying I still am not a piece of shit. I guess it depends on who you ask. But, I would not want to say run into the teenage version of me, if I had like say a daughter, whereas like if I have the teenage version of me, I know way better how to deal with it, and send him off into the into the world. No, he'll never be sent off. I'll always be here, but I don't know if I can always give necessarily the best advice. I'll sure try, but at least try to shed my experience. And that's where I say it's like, I think the red flags will typically spring up. And again, I have to say, there's a lot of trolling and I really appreciate, but just not so much in the relationship thing. I think it's such a sensitive area for people, or maybe just me. Maybe I'm just a bitch, but it's like people don't need their hearts broken just for no reason, like you're going to get your heart broken for real. And it's painful enough. It's one of the worst pains. It's, you don't need to go through that for fake. And I guess, geez, if you got yourself that attached, it's something to learn about yourself anyway. If you got yourself into a situation where you were being trolled, so you probably wouldn't have even ever had the opportunity to meet that person, and you became so attached. I mean, I guess that is a lesson maybe you need to learn, but for God's sakes, I'm not the one to make that decision, make that call. Certainly wouldn't want it to happen to me. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I had in my teenage years, there were certainly times like that, things like that happened, but not that I ever fell for. And I even later thought they might be lying because I don't know. Sometimes when you just feel like you're being baited and you don't want to give in to it, because if, like, say that girl really was asking and I was just not coming over, then I could look like a dick, and then they could want to not, you know what I mean? Maybe they're, so like basically, yeah, this girl called me and she was like saying come over, and I was like no, you know what I mean? And then eventually she like put these other guys on the phone, and then they were like, we were just like something like they were gonna kick my ass if I came over or whatever it was anyway. But my point in saying that is like maybe she just felt hurt, but I just made that up probably for myself. But that's okay. Dude, I remember this one time when I was a teenager. It was probably literally when I got my first phone. So literally when I first got my first cell phone, my son wants a phone. He thinks he should have a phone. My mom made the mistake of telling him she's going to get him a phone. So, I mean, I guess good thing, she signed that death warrant. I didn't make, I wouldn't be silly enough to say something like that. But I remember when I got my first phone, I remember one time I was at like one of like my friend's house, and I called one of my other friends, and I was talking shit about him. Like, I was saying, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't even know. I think it was because, like, oh, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. I can't give all the details. I get too embarrassed. It's so dumb. It was like, because we were like 13, right? So he was like, I remember I was telling them, I was like, well, Alex doesn't even know what the hymen is. And like, I had Alex on the phone. I had like accidentally called Alex. So you know what I mean? Because like I hadn't learned how to lock the phone yet or whatever, and you could just open it up and dial it. And I'd obviously talked to him recently, or maybe it was because A was at the top of my contacts. Who knows how it happens? But then he told me about it later. He all confronted me about it. He was like, "So you told him I don't know what the hymen is, huh?" And it was just like, you know what I mean? Because like I wanted to feel cool that like I knew, but like because they probably made fun of me that I was trying to make such a big deal about it. And I was like, well, Alex doesn't know, you know what I mean? So I'm like, so dumb. I know. I was embarrassed. Who cares, right? It was like 13 years old. That's such a dumb thing to say, but it is true. It's what I did. I don't know. Haven't you ever done that? Or like, haven't you ever like accidentally called somebody and then talk shit about them while you accidentally called them? I can't be the only one that's ever done that. And again, I would say it's because I was new with my phone, but or like, have you ever sent person one a text that was meant for person two, but you talk shit about person one? Have you ever done that? I've been on the receiving end of that. I was definitely, and then you wonder, like, did they do it on purpose? Like, did they say stuff about you in the third person? Because they're not addressing it to you, but it's about you. And then it comes to you. Like I remember one time I was at this hotel, right? And I was working the front desk, and some guest needed something. Like I don't even remember what it was, but I'm absolutely certain that I had ran into the maintenance closet for a guest. You know what I mean? Like maybe they hated their TV or something, and the TVs are screwed to the top of the dresser. So maybe I had to grab a screwdriver or a drill or something to get them a new TV or something for certain that involved a guest, where it's like my immediate goal and should be the top priority of everybody is the fucking guests in the hotel. That's the only thing that keeps the place running. But oh my god, and they're so bad. It's funny. I remember we were nobody cares, but this guy, so he was like, he sent me a text that said like, I think Ethan's been snooping around in my office, and it was me. He sent it to me. And of course I wasn't snooping. I was getting whatever I needed. I don't remember what it was because it wasn't important. It's still not important. But and said he learned that he accidentally sent that to me. And then so like he just he texted me later, and he was like, stay out of my office. And so like I ended up just like having to like buy extra sets of tools, like buy an extra set of tools for the front desk at the hotel, because like obviously they should have access to whatever tool they need, especially if it has something to do with a guest or a guest needs it. But you would just think that's obvious, but man, we've stayed in I've said it before, but some of the nicest hotels, and again, it then depends on what you consider nice, but then they still, you know what I mean, just have normal people working there that may or may not give a fuck about what they're doing, and seems like more often than not, people don't care about what they're doing. I mean, hey, maybe that's just my opinion, but I don't know. When that guy moved out, when that guy left, like when he later left the hotel, well, I found out that pretty much everything in that maintenance closet that I had went in to use was the hotel's anyway, you know what I mean? So it's not even like it was his tools or anything that I was using, because like you could understand if you're like, okay, you're using this guy's tools, but they weren't even really his, you know what I mean? Like they were owned by the hotel, but you know how people are. Some people are just like territorial, and it's tough not to be. I mean, I've talked about it before too. Like I've even myself caught myself being territorial about stupid things, but it's just like sometimes you feel like there is, I guess, a line, but that's where, yeah, I guess it's tough to be judgmental about it. But you know what I mean? I guess that's the truth. I guess it's like we're all probably territorial in some way or another, right? It's just a matter of where your line is, right? Like if, for instance, if somebody starts touching you or something, you know what I mean? Is that territorial? Or because that's like you would call it personal space, but isn't that your territory? Like, you know what I mean? Isn't you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody just basically has a line. Like, so as far as your line, like you're just because it's not touchy before people get to you, you know what I mean? Maybe that's your line. I guess everybody technically has a line of what would be considered territorial. I guess you have to like look up the definition of like what is that, right? You're like, don't fucking clickety clank, don't clackety clackety clackety, territorial, not the video game, relating to the ownership of an area of land or sea. 2, relating to particular territory, district, or locality. I don't know, are you a locality? Are you, if it's relating to you, you're definitely a territory. I feel like you could be a territory. I don't know. I just think everybody's got a line somewhere. I think you just, it depends on where you draw your line, right? It depends on where you, I don't know. That's funny. You're like, no, it's not. It's not funny. Don't say that. People say that. I say that on accident too. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's like an opener. Like people use it as an opener of a conversation, like opener of a conversation. Like it was funny, and it's not always funny, but or like I try to go say it was interesting. I try to say it was interesting because obviously I wouldn't be talking about it if I didn't think it was interesting. So sometimes I'll like it was interesting, when I want to say it was funny, but I don't know. I was trying to go bed. I was trying to go to bed the other night. I don't know why I can't talk. Maybe I should have some of this drink. I was trying to go bed. Yep. There I go again, not being able to get that one out. The other night, I smelled donuts. There was no donuts in my house. There hasn't been any donuts in my house. I haven't eaten donuts. We haven't made donuts. We haven't bought donuts. I like donuts. Donuts are amazing. Dude, fresh donuts. That's like, I remember a long time ago when I first was healthy, the whole reason I did it is because I used to eat like shit. And so I was like, I got to counteract this or I'm going to be 1,000,000 pounds. So I was like, someday I'll be 1,000,000 pounds if I continue to eat this way. And then like you get to a point where it's like people are like, well, that you're just counteracting everything that you're doing. You know what I mean? So then it's like, wait, then you have to be like, I'm not saying have to be, but then it's like there's this be healthy of what you're eating and do healthy things for yourself and exercise and do yoga and meditate. You know what I mean? So it's like, it just seems like, God, what the hell am I talking about? I don't remember. I really don't remember. Oh, donuts, dude. I fucking love donuts. I love donuts so much, especially like if you get them in the morning, like, because I typically rise early. There's been times lately where I literally feel so goddamn dead that I'll still get up early, but then I just go back to bed. But I love donuts, man. They're so good. Like especially if you get them in the morning. So like if you right after they're like fried, right after they're made, oh my God, tell me there's not something better than that. I mean, I know they're so bad. They're like the worst thing ever. That's like that. But if I had a guilty pleasure, I would say for sure that or ice cream. Ice cream's amazing. Like, dude, Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Like, tell me Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Oh my God, I could fuck up a pint of Ben and Jerry's ice cream so fast, dude. Like that one my dad introduced us to, everything but the. Oh my God, my mouth is watering just thinking about it. That is so good. That is so good. That's amazing. It's like literally, if I had to say one thing though, like those people that buy the donuts that are like, that they're giving away for like half price, I don't understand it. Because if you've ever had a fresh donut, like fresh donut compared to day old or even 12-hour old, like, or even 2-hour old compared to like fresh donut, dude, that is. There's not much better than that. That's on the top of the list. And I have a story about donuts. I'll be right back. I'm back. I felt like I was out of breath when I said I'm back. Didn't I? I sounded out of breath when I said it. Maybe I should have taken a minute to collect myself. But you know what's another thing I was thinking about? I still was going to talk about donuts, but when I was talking about donuts, I was talking about how, like, after a while, like, when you're doing healthy stuff, like, people, it's like, I guess it almost seems like it's a fucking competition, right? It seems like it's a competition where, like, the more healthy shit you do, you know what I mean? And it's not, the competition only benefits you. You know what I mean? It only benefits your own body. It only benefits you and your own future. So it's like, it's not a bad competition to be in. But the idea is, like, don't fucking destroy your body and then, counteract it. You know what I mean? It'd be like if say, eating, bread and eating, pasta was a negative number, and if exercising was a positive number, or you know what I mean, like, yoga is a positive number, and eating pizza which is just bread, I guess, or eating cereal, is a negative number, and it's like the idea, if you're just taking in positives and negatives all day, you're kind of just evening it out. So the idea is, if you can just take in more positives, you're better off. But my thought is just like, I almost think I haven't eaten donuts in forever. I can't remember the last time I had a donut. I love donuts. I really need to have one. I know it's a crazy thing to say, but I just, like, I haven't had one in so long. And I almost think you need to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I guess you see The Rock, and, like, you can't compare yourself to The Rock, obviously, in the sense that, like, he's working his fucking ass off. He's, like, really putting in the every day. And I'm not saying I don't work out every day, and I do it, but it's clearly not to the same degree. And mine is not necessarily for bulk. It's more for mobility, I guess, is like regular human mobility. It's, I think, the way it's described. But anyway, it's the point being, not like, I'm not like bulking, and people say he's on roids. So I mean, I'm not trying to be stupid. Nobody's talking shit about The Rock. Everybody loves The Rock. But yeah, I'm fairly certain any notable source will say he's juicing. Which is, you gotta, I guess, expect that from him at this point. But don't remember what the hell I was talking about. Yeah, so I got that going on for me. But oh yeah, it's like, he has his cheat days. Like, he has his one day a week, and I almost think you have to do that, because I just, like, I'm so damn burnt out on it. I mean, honestly, just 100%. Like, they say it's discipline, right? Discipline is what keeps you just continuing to go at it. But it's just like, I always recognize the procrastination. So I always recognize myself putting off my workout in the morning, or, you know what I mean? Like, pushing it off longer than I should. And I have a schedule. So it's like, I know by the time, it's like, if I need to start at X30 and it's X43, I'm being a bitch. You know what I mean? I need to start. And so it's just like, I just can feel myself with more and more procrastination lately. And, it's like, I know I'm healthy. I know I'm fine, because I was sick a couple weeks ago. So now, just to have that as a comparison, I know what I feel like when I'm healthy. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I can't blame it on that. And but I'm just burnt out as shit. Like, I don't know how people don't get burnt out. I really don't. Like, I've mentioned it before, but I've been doing, say, like, the same workout routine for over a year now. So it's been a long time. And it's like, you should, I guess, be proud of yourself, in the sense, I'm gonna rub my nose, so I must be lying, but I guess the idea is, there is some sense of accomplishment that maybe it's good to revel in, or whatever it is. But I just can't. I don't know. I'm over it. You know what I mean? Like, you think about people like Cam Hanes, and it's like, so it's like, it makes sense for him, but it's like, and they only say that because it's like, every day he's running that marathon. Every day he's working out. Every day he's shooting. Every day, every weekend, every Friday night he's in the gym working out. Every Saturday he's shooting. Every Saturday he's working out. Every Saturday he's running up the mountain with or without The Rock. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't mean The Rock, the guy. I mean fucking gigantic boulder that he just carries up the mountain. But my point in saying that is, like, he's been asked that, and he's said that, and it's like, I guess to look up to him as a role model. he does it for the animal, or if I believe so, right? I mean, he does it to make sure it gives the cleanest, best kill, and he honors the animal in every best possible way, and that's amazing, and I understand that, and I guess that's my thing. I guess it's just like to not have purpose in the sense of what I'm doing, and it's like the truth is the purpose is to keep me from being so damn angry, to keep me from being so frustrated all the time, and so grumpy all the time. But it worked for a long time. It kept me to the point where I was so exhausted for the longest time that then I wouldn't respond to bullshit. I would just let things. But it's like now that I'm used to it, I still get grumpy. I still get mad. Now I just want to procrastinate my workouts. I still haven't. You know what I mean? Like even when I got sick, it was that's the first time that I wasn't on vacation or really hungover. Like one time in 2019, I only did half of my workout because I was hungover as shit. And I don't really drink that much anymore because I can't. I fucking hate it. I hate being hungover. I hate that feeling. It's awful. I can't handle it. I can't. You have more than a couple drinks and you feel like shit for days. You notice it forever. So I don't like that enough to not do it. What was I talking about? Yeah, but it's just like, it's like, so you understand Cam, I guess. It's like you can get it because he has a reason. And my whole thing was to not be angry, not be so grumpy all the time. But it's just like, I'm still angry. I still get grumpy. I still get frustrated. And then that's, I think, where people say, it's like you're never going to get rid of that. Even when you're meditating, even when you're doing your yoga, you're still going to feel like shit. But it's just like, I don't know. Oh yeah, I guess I was saying that even while I was sick, I really considered not working out, really considered it, and I did it anyway. And I mean, after I worked out and I did yoga that day, and I felt really good afterward. I couldn't even believe it. I literally couldn't even believe it. It was like I felt like death the whole time, felt good while I worked out and did yoga, and then felt back like death again. But like my son said his mom got sick, and it sounded like the same shit at the same time. And she was sick for a week, and I was sick for 24 hours. So, that's where it was like, as I have these contemplations of like, is it worth all this? Is all this shit worth it? You know what I mean? It's like, I did say even out loud, it is worth being healthy at that time. Like, you know what I mean? To hear like, oh, she was out for a week and fucked up, and I was literally only out for 24 hours. And again, even those 24 hours, I still did my workout and did yoga, which I call that 2 workouts. Like I just do 2 days a week. I don't necessarily do a workout. I do yoga in addition to my workout. But like if somebody asks me, I say I work out 2 days a week, twice a day. I mean, because that's, I know like Whitney says that like being in a fucking bed sleeping is the same as doing yoga, but anybody that does yoga I think knows it's not even the same at all. It's hard. Like even my son's been doing it. He did it with me last weekend. I need to make him do it with me tomorrow. I'm not going to feel like doing it tomorrow. I know it's just a fucking issue. I don't get it. Why is that? Why, you know what I mean? It's because I don't have a purpose. I need a purpose. It's like Cam has a purpose. David Goggins, he has a purpose. They have David wanted to be, I want to be the baddest, and he is. And it's just like, I guess it's makes it harder to show up, but it was to make me not a lunatic, and it probably does help. Maybe it takes the edge off, right? It's like as if there's a, you know what I mean? If there was a sharp edge, it sands it down a little bit, which is good, probably good. I mean, I certainly feel better afterwards. That's why I can't, and it's an addiction thing too. But God, I can't believe I didn't mean to go on this long. But my thought was maybe because the donuts came up, maybe if I allowed myself something like that every once in a while, have some pizza every once in a while. But then it was like a couple weeks ago when I got sick, I feel like we had like fast food, or I was eating trail mix, I was eating all that M&Ms, all that sugar. So it's like it immediately, I hadn't been sick in forever, and then it's like my body responded in a negative way. So it's like it's so tough to justify it. It's so tough to allow yourself that when you're literally just hurting yourself. Like it's like what's the point? But then it's like, I don't know, maybe having that balance. I'm sure balance is the key. I mean, I know they say moderation is the key, but I'm sure having some sort of balance would be better. It's like, I don't know. It's like a fighter. A fighter's training for a fight. You know what I mean? You know, uh, Cam, he's training for his hunt. You know what I mean? It's like he's wants to be the best of the best, and he is. And it's like David's training to be the baddest motherfucker on the planet, and he is. It's just like they all have a purpose, and that's why they kill it every day. And I just like, hey, I'm still killing it every day, but it's taken more. That's where people say, I guess it's just discipline. It's discipline. It just takes more and more of me to make myself do it. I don't have that same drive I once had. It's all good. But the other day, I smelled donuts, dude, and there's no donuts in my house. I haven't done donuts forever, and I looked that up, and it's a thing. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that like you can have a hallucinatory smell. Did you guys know this is a thing? I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know you could have hallucinatory smells. I could probably look it up, but what was the idea? I had written myself a note about it, but according to the Mayo Clinic, an olfactory hallucination. Phantosmia. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. It looks like that. It's like PHANTOSMIA. Phantosmia. I don't know if that's how you'd say it. It's like that already. Yeah, I've said it. But they said the Mayo Clinic, an olfactory hallucination. Yeah, I'm the guy that should read it. The guy that can't read. Obviously, yeah, that's the guy that should take it. But an olfactory hallucinate. Why can't I say that? Why the fuck can't I say that word? Hallucination. Maybe I just can't say olfactory before it. An olfactory hallucination, phantosmia, makes you detect smells that aren't really present in your environment. This was me. The odors detected in phantosmia vary from person to person. They may be foul or they may be pleasant. They can occur in one or both nostrils, and the phantom smell may seem to be present or it may come and go. And so I didn't realize that was a thing. I thought maybe I was just crazy. You know what it really was? Is I was like, maybe people smell donuts right before they die. Maybe they smell fake donuts, and this is like a thing, and maybe I'm about to die. That was really what I looked up, because I was like, what if this is a thing? What if like I looked it up on Google, and they were like, yeah, there's a lot of people that right before they die, they smell donuts. And so I was like, I gotta fucking look it up, because there's no donuts. I haven't fried any donuts. I haven't bought any donuts, so can't let this slide. Like there's a smell of donuts, and it's not. Do you ever have people that like do something terrible like that? Like their whole fart deal is like, do you smell popcorn? Smell popcorn, and then you take a huge whiff, and then it's just like, their ass. I hate it. I've said I hate it. I can't do it. I'm over it. I'm so over that. I'm more over that than I'm over exercising. And I say I'm over exercising, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna stop. Like tomorrow I'm gonna wake up, I'm still gonna do my workout, I'm still gonna do my yoga, but it's just like, and I don't do that every day. I only do it twice a week, but just so happens that I was referring to a time that it happened last week, and again it comes tomorrow, and so I guess that's just how it works. But anyway, yeah. I guess my thought is, I guess I was lucky in the sense that it's a pleasant smell, right? Because like yeah. Well, my real thought is like a bodily fluid. Like, what if it was anybody's bodily fluid? You know what I mean? In any type of it. You know what I mean? What if your phantosmia? What if what you smelled in phantosmia was anybody else's body fluid? Like of all things, I would just not. I would not want that. It's like if I'm going to have any phantosmia, I was super duper lucky that it was like a pleasant smell like donuts. Like imagine if it was piss. Like imagine if just all day you smelled piss. Like what if when you woke up it smelled like piss? You went and met your boyfriend, it smelled like piss. When you went to, ate breakfast, it smelled like piss. Like all the time, like I wouldn't be able to handle that. Or barf. or barf, if it just smelled like barf all the time, everywhere you went, it just smelled like barf. Did you guys know this was a thing? Like, imagine if that was your phantosmia. I hope I'm saying it right. Phantosmia. Where do you think you fluctuate? Where do you think you enunciate those words? I don't know. Phantosmia. It would ruin foods. Like, if you smelled piss all day, if all you smelled was piss, and then, you know what I mean, you tried to, like, eat something, like, I know I mentioned breakfast, but, like, I feel like a lot of your taste comes from your nose, right? So if, like, your entire nose cavity, whether it be one nostril or the entire deal, I feel like you'd be in bad shape. You know what I mean? You wouldn't be able to taste things right. Everything would taste like pee. It'd be terrible. I didn't know this was a thing. I wonder how many people suffer from it. Should we look that up? Should we find out how many people suffer from phantosmia? But it said it could come and go too, right? It says phantosmia is relatively uncommon. It makes up around 10 to 20% of disorders related. Jesus, I'm a retard. Phantosmia is relatively uncommon. It makes up around 10 to 20% of disorders related to the sense of smell. In most cases, phantosmia is not a cause for concern, and it will go away on its own. Yeah, it was only that one time. But, again, what if, and that's total anxiety, right? Total anxiety thinking that, like, oh yeah, I'm probably dying. I smell donuts for no reason. Definitely dying. What if, though? I had to look it up. You know what I mean? I was like, I can't be the first person that's ever smelled donuts for no reason. Yep, like Google says, it just went away. I know I shouldn't trust Google. I made the mistake of doing that. They're right, though, in this case. Dude, I remember one time, my dad, this hotel, so like my dad, and he went to prison, right? So he went to prison until I was probably like 9 or 10 for burglary, so for like breaking into places. And I remember this one time we were at this hotel, and the hotel said that they were locked out of their pool. It was like a separate structure, so the hotel was one building and the pool was another building, which sometimes I think about those, like, I don't know if you ever went to like those Best Westerns back in the day, but like the Best Westerns, and like the entire roof was like all skylights, like, right, like it was, sometimes they'd even be like a little fucking dome. It'd be like a little biodome looking thing in the middle of the parking lot that had like all windows on the top of it, and it'd have like what is it, like waterfalls and stuff on the side. Dude, those were my favorite. Like, I hated waiting in the car to like find a hotel that had it, because apparently my parents never planned ahead, which I think is insane at this point, you know what I mean? But it all just depends, like, because like I remember working in the hotel business, we'd have people like stop in and we'd be sold out, and like everybody would be sold out for like an hour drive in either direction, because like a huge thing was going on, and people would just stop in, you know, like expect to like just stop in and get a room, which it's like is all we did as a kid. But like they were always trying to find a pool, and they always found some pretty cool pools. But I remember this one time my dad, they said they were locked out. But he got this hotel room when I was in Majestic Ranch. So they had put us in these places. So like they put my sister in this place in the middle of bumfuck in the mountains in Montana, and they put me in the middle of this place in the middle of bumfuck in Utah. And so it was like in the middle of the desert. Closest town was like 8 miles away. It had like 400 people, 500 people. But why am I talking about? Oh yeah, so like my dad came and picked me up. So like we got to this point where like we were earned a visit, right? So we earned like an off-site visit. So like rather than say getting to just send our parents letters and send our family and friends letters, you know, or talking to our parents once supervised, like, you know, once a month after we got to a certain level for a few minutes supervised over the phone, we got to a level where like we actually got to leave. So my dad, he got a hotel, and he ensured that his hotel had a pool, so that way like we could hang out and go to the pool, because you know when you're a kid, that's like a big deal, right? And I was in 8th grade, so I guess I can't necessarily say I was a kid. I was like 13 years old. But they were like, we can't go in the pool because it's locked. And I was like, well, if we can get in the pool, you'll let us go in there, right? And they were like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense because they ideally, if their story is true, they're locked out, so they need to get in there to get the keys anyway, right? So it was really cool because I felt like I got to like see my dad, who I knew had gotten in trouble for burglary, do burglary on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, be allowed to do it. And yeah, he literally took a screwdriver up to the sliding glass door and fucking busted it open in about 2 seconds. It was amazing. It was, I mean, just in the sense that, like, I guess that's why people put those little rods in their sliding glass door or whatever. You know what I mean? You put like that little fucking thing so it can't slide open. You know, it's like one of those more popular things to do, or at least like some sort of broom handle or something that's about that. But yeah, it was pretty amazing. Their pool house, he broke into it in about 2 seconds with one tool that he could easily just like carry in his pocket. But I felt like it was cool because like I know it's so dumb. You know what I mean? It'd be like you know, like some ninja that's off duty for like a really long time, and then they get to like, you know, they get into a fight that they just like have to be in, you know. It's dumb. It's totally not like that, but it's I guess it was like that to me. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. You know what's another thing I've been dealing with, which is fucking nuts, dude? How often should you have to get a new dryer? Like, how often should you have to buy a new dryer? Because I looked it up. I literally was like, what's the average? Because it says 10 to fucking 13 years, and that's what I thought. I literally thought that, like, when I was a kid, I feel like my mom had, like, the same dryer for, like, 10 years. Easily 10 years. I bought a dryer here recently, this one that I've had. I've only had it for like 3 years, so easily like 3 years, and it's making a sound that's so loud, so screeching loud that it makes my fucking ears ring, and I can barely think when it's going on. It literally is the most terrible, awful thing. And like, I replaced that one like I said 3 years ago, and then the one I had before that, it only lasted 4 years. I even hung on to it, which is like the most white trash thing ever. I mean, it's not like it's in my front lawn or, you know, like sitting in my yard or anything like that, so I guess it's a little bit less white trash. My point in saying that is I thought, like, this thing's got to be still good, you know what I mean? Like, somebody that had the know-how would somehow be able to get this thing working, because it's just like, it's too fucking quick for it not to work. And that was like, I had it for like 4 years. This one I've had for like 3 years, and now it's not working. And I'm just like, really? And I got like 2 different models, right? Like, the first one I bought was a Whirlpool Gold, and this one's a Maytag, which, I mean, who the fuck knows? You know what I mean? It's like, I guess you can even get a good or you can even get, like, say, what's supposed to be a good manufacturer. Like, I don't know, I guess Maytag's got good commercials, right? They make themselves sound good in their commercials. Fucking surprise. But they seem to, like, I guess, do a good job of marketing, is what I should really say. That's the truth. That's what I know about them, is what they've told me about them. But my point in saying this, I just thought somebody would have some good product, you know what I mean? Like, I bought the Whirlpool years ago. Like, the washer's still the Whirlpool, because I got the Whirlpool Gold set. Whirlpool, I can barely say it, but and then now I got the Maytag, and just to think, it's like I'm literally at the point where I need to buy another fucking dryer. I know it sounds stupid, but it's like, when you buy an appliance, how long do you expect to have that appliance? Because I think it's a long time, right? Like, I think when you buy an appliance, you're like, dude, I'm gonna have this for a minute. You know what I mean? You don't expect. I sure don't. The first time I didn't expect 4 years after buying it that I was going to have to buy another dryer. Now, after I did that, you know what I mean? Thinking, like, this is an anomaly. There's no way that's going to happen again. And here it is now 3 years later again, and I'm at the point where I need to buy another one. And I don't know, maybe I need to hire some maintenance person that knows what the fuck they're doing, but it's just, how many times do I now invest money in repairs in the dryer? And I know this is such a just, like, silly, stupid, you know, homeowner thing, but it's just like, fuck, dude, you know what I mean? Like, 7 years, 2 dryers, 2 different brands. It's just silly. It's really silly. Both of them, the heating elements went out before they broke. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then how often are you supposed to have to do that? How often are you supposed to replace the heater in it? You know, the thing that heats, whether it's the thermal indicator, you know, whatever. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I remember. But these issues that you have, I don't know. That's like that Kanye West song when he's like, "Don't pressure me with that bullshit. Everybody got them that ain't children." You know what I mean? It's like it's just normal fucking problems, right? But that's what I just think. I even looked it up. Like I said, it's like the internet says 10 to 13 years is an average time for a dryer. I guess maybe I'm just on the low end of the average. I'm pulling in all the low numbers. I'm bringing down the people that have them for 18 years, you know, the average down with my fucking 3 and 4 years. It's just like, I don't know. Tell me if people know, you know. Of course we do a lot of laundry. Like I do a shitload of laundry, you know what I mean? I got a kid. Like it's like even still I've always done a lot of laundry. Like I don't use a towel more than once. Like I know that sounds so fucking stupid. And as I say it, it's like, well, you're bougie motherfucker, but I've said it before, but I have so much acne. Like I have such acne issues. You know what I mean? So it's just like I can't possibly be using a dirty fucking towel to dry off my clean face. I just feel like that's just asking for issues. It's just literally asking for, you know what I mean? Acne. You know what I mean? It's like, and I feel like even greasy today, which they say, I shouldn't say they, but like I've heard that, you know, you're supposed to add extra moisture to your skin, which again, I've said before, I add plenty of moisturizer to my skin every day, at least twice a day, probably normally. And it's still greasy. It's still oily. I don't know. Someday maybe my hormones will level out. It's all good. I guess it's a good thing, right? You know, it's like those guys that are fucking in their 30s that are getting TRT. It's like, I guess I should still be glad that I have an oily ass face and have a bunch of zits everywhere, and you know what I mean? I guess whatever it is that's pumping through my veins that's causing all that stuff is probably the same thing that's allowing me to work out twice a day or whatever it is. So it's like, I guess be grateful for it is my point while I have it, while I'm young, you know. But it's just like, I don't know. And that's too, I guess that's the thing too. It's like I always think about that. Like if you get injured, you know what I mean? You'd be begging to be able to do this. You know what I mean? If you were hurt, the whole time you'd just be like, you know, doing whatever you could, babying your hurt, you know, limb, and then rehabbing it back to normal conditions. So it's like I guess you know, you get my point is you got to be grateful. I just need to be grateful, even if I pretend like I don't have a purpose in the whole thing, you know, aside from trying to, you know, not take like fucking pills or anything for my mental health. You know, it's like basically it's always been it's always been a way to try to manage my mental health in my mind, which there's studies on it. I mean, there's good ones. I think cardio is good for everybody though too. Like fucking exercise is good for everybody. Getting your heart rate up every day is good for everybody. Like it's, yeah. And I just, after I broke my heel in 3 places, I was like, there's nothing that's going to hurt me to be stronger. You know what I mean? Like after, some people have said that that's one of the strongest bones in your body. I don't know. I've heard some of your leg bones can be the strongest bone in your body, but my point in saying that is it's never going to hurt me to be stronger. That's never going to, so that was kind of my whole deal in the beginning. But how does that, you know, how do people not get burnt out? That's all. And I'm trying to be a downer. I'm not trying to be a negative. I'll be right back. I'll be Mr. Positive. No, I'm gonna be the exact same, but I'll be right back. I'm back. I was talking with Breck, and not recently. I was just talking with Breck, but I was talking with him another time, and he asked me how animals got their names, and I was like, I have no idea. Yeah. I don't know how any way to generalize that. My thought is just like, you know, yeah, I'd have no idea. I literally had no idea. I even had to look it up because I wasn't sure. I was like, I have no idea what the system, you know what I mean? Basically, it says the naming system was invented by a scientist and explorer called Carolus Linnaeus. Did you guys know this? I didn't know that. I was not aware of that. It's kind of cool. I probably was taught that at one time or another. Oh, you know what's funny? Actually, yeah, no, here, let me finish this, and then I remember my thought. His idea was to give each creature a two-part name, a species name, and a genus name. The genus name is the family and creature the family the creature belongs to. The species name is the unique type of creature in that family. But it's funny, after reading that, I actually totally remember that's probably something that I missed out on seventh grade biology class. It's funny, they had this like little library in between the classrooms, the science classrooms, where like they kept all the stuff, you know what I mean, like the supplies that they needed for I forgot what they call it, but when we did like experiments in science class, you know what I mean, when you do like workstations rather than having to just like sit at your desk all day, you know, you'd actually be like doing hands-on stuff. That was probably the only part of science that I really liked, but I didn't like it in the sense that I always knew that after we did that, then we had to write about it. You know, it was like however much time you spent on the experiment, you then had to spend writing about the experiment, and I hated that part because I was probably never taking in what I was supposed to. But the area where they would keep all those supplies, I remember spending a lot of time in there, and that was probably where I was when they were explaining this, because I remember like our teacher, and you can't blame her, but she would just get overwhelmed, you know what I mean, with like me and some of my other friends, and so like rather than continuing to allow us to disrupt the class, she'd just put us in there by ourselves, and we'd just sit there for hours, you know what I mean, just like staring at the wall. But it does help you realize, like, I guess the whole reason that I'm really talking shit is for everybody else's attention, you know what I mean? So when they take away that and they just lock you in a room all by yourself, but that's probably why I missed the species, the genus, and whatever the fuck they were just talking about. What was it again? The species name. And this, wow, that was really echoey. Why was that so echoey? What was it? What was that from? That felt weird. Did that feel echoey to you? I mean, I guess it's probably just because I was talking down like that, because I was talking down towards my phone, but geez Louise, that sounded echoey. I don't know what that was. I feel like I'm in a fucking tunnel. Anybody else? Nope. Losing your mind. Cool. But that's probably why I don't remember that. That's probably why I didn't have a good answer for that. You know, it's another thing I didn't have a good answer for was BBL. Do you guys know what BBL means? Doesn't seem like that's like a big thing. I even had to look that up as well. But before I looked it up, what I thought it was not what it was. Like, I thought it was BBL, black butt look. That's what I thought it was. I don't mean to be stupid. It sounded like it had something to do with butts, right? And so I was like, or maybe it's a short way to say bubble, which again could be talking about butts, right? Like having a bubble booty, right? Maybe, depending on what videos you're looking at. But so like I was like, either it could have to do with bubble, maybe it's a shortened version of bubble, or I was like, it's black butt look is my guess. And then I looked it up, and I guess it's Brazilian butt lift. But then there's like this trend on TikTok about like Brazilian BBL butts or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I had to look it up. Some places on the internet were calling it a TikTok fad, and I've seen other sites to refer to it as the BBL epidemic. Fascinating though, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know. One said that non-TikTokers, it means be back later, but TikTok has rebranded the innocent looking abbreviation to replace it with something more hardcore. That one doesn't sound real. That sounds like I'm not trusting that source. But I don't know. Yeah, so definitely wasn't what I thought it was. And that, I feel like, just shows my age, but it is what it is. I don't know the real deal. Google says the Brazilian butt lift is a cosmetic augmentation where fat is transferred using liposuction from one part of the body to the buttocks. When the body's own fat is used, it reduces the risk of infection that implants may cause. So, I don't know. That's what Google says a BBL is, but I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's something else. But that's what I thought it was. No, that's not what I thought it was. I mean, that's what I've discovered. That's what I've discovered. You heard what I thought it was. I thought it was black butt look or a short thing for bubble. But really, they kind of all mean the same thing, right? Like, technically, if you really think about it, if you were really trying to get across a message and you were talking about somebody's butt and you said bubble, or if you're talking about somebody's butt and you said black butt look, or if you're talking about somebody's butt and you said Brazilian butt lift. It took me a while to remember what the fuck it actually is. I feel like that also is the same thing, right? I mean, like, technically, kinda. I mean, they're all pretty close. Like, they're all clearly not one thing, right? And they're like at least on one end. They're all on one end of the spectrum. Yep, they're all on. I'd say that's the easiest way to describe it. They're all at least on one end of the scale for that particular thing. So at least I guess, yeah, I was on the right track. Maybe that's just my ego trying to justify to myself that I couldn't come up with what BBL stood for, that it's Brazilian butt lift. But oh well, I guess here it is. I got to share it with you. I got to share that I learned that. Dude, I remember one time we went to I was at my basically when I was younger, sometimes we would just go to my dad's house. So like we would just go up there because a lot of times he wasn't home, but at this particular time he was home. But you know what I mean? He would basically just not have the same rules as like most other people, especially not like other adults. He kind of just like let us do whatever because he's still a kid, unfortunately, himself. But I remember this one time we went to his house and he had an entire bottle of Ambien, and that particular bottle he had only tried one out of because he didn't really like it. He didn't enjoy Ambien, and because a lot of people, it's like when you wake up the next day you feel like completely out of it. But so he only had this one out of the entire bottle, and so like I didn't really know what it was, but I remember asking one of my friends. I was like, "Is this shit any good? You know what I mean? Is this worth trying?" And so we had tried some of it, but I heard later, and I don't know if this is true or not, but later I heard that like there's no real benefit to snorting it. Like, I don't know, some doctor had said that like when people do that, there's like no purpose to it. You're getting the same effect, and it would just be your body doesn't need to take it in that way. You could just swallow it and you get the exact same effect. So I don't know if that's true, because the only time I had ever taken it was that time, and we had always snorted. No, I was gonna say that's a lie. No, I took it other times after that, but we always snorted it, and I just remember being absolutely 100% out of my mind. I also think it made my nose burn, if I remember correctly. Like, I think if I remember correctly, it made our nose just like burn like crazy. So definitely not anything you'd recommend. But unfortunately, also not something that was enough to deter us. You wish it would be, right? I mean, I think that's probably the idea. That's probably why it's so awful, or maybe it's just because it's not supposed to be snorted, like that doctor said. But I just remember, I don't remember actually a lot of it, you know what I mean? But like we had like literally like lined a bunch of my dad's shit up. Like we had gone through literally my dad's closets, and we were like lined a bunch of his things up that like we were gonna take. And then like he came home and he was like, "What is all this? Like, what do you guys do with all my stuff?" And we were like, just like so far out of our minds, like, like, I'm going to give this as a gift. You know what I mean? Like, we literally, we're probably going to selfishly take some of it for ourselves. But luckily, he just like encountered us and he was like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" Like, just knowing we're just like literally out of our minds. But yeah, that was a really, really long time ago. But I just remember, just being like present with my body, but totally being on a different planet when having taken it. And I think, again, that's why a lot of people don't like to use it as a sleeping aid, because like it takes you a while still, even when you wake up, to come back from that planet, even when you're just using it the proper way. But if you use it and stay awake, man, and again, I'm not recommending anybody do this, but I just remember this one time, we just literally like, it was four of us that just had an entire bottle over a course of a couple days, and we literally I mean, again, I remember being present with my body, but not feeling like I was there at all in my mind, which is, yeah, I guess probably too many times that I've done that. Too many times I've tried to recreate some dream state in consciousness that I just need to, settle in and take a big breath, right? Like fucking, just breathe the world in and breathe myself out into the world. Isn't that the idea? Sounds good. Sounds good when you hear it. Sounds good when you say it. But gosh, what a mess. What a mess. Hopefully I'm the only one that's ever done that. If not, you can send in your story. Feel free to share. There's other degenerates that are probably, gone through that same type of thing one time or another. But yeah, it's funny. I keep looking at my phone. I'm the worst with my phone. I'm so goddamn addicted to it. It's insane how much I'm addicted to it. Sometimes I can catch myself. Sometimes I'm just like, what am I doing? Or, Breck will call me out. Like if I'm just like scrolling or staring at it or something like that. But it's just like, golly, I am so ridiculously addicted to it. But I'm going to go check back in with Breck. It's been good chatting with you guys today. Feel free to like the video. That always helps. Subscribe. We'd love it if you did that. Love you anyway. If not, I can't wait to talk to you again next week. Look forward to you tuning in. And, hope you have a good one until then. Bye, guys.